I was on mute this whole time. You know what? You too. What's up? What's going on, buttercups? The most feared kid in U.S. prison. Now, I know you have some of the kids in your neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? Lil John John, you know what I'm saying? That's John John's son, you know what I'm saying? Just Lil John John. Also, I apologize for the last video. It wasn't really that entertaining. I'm sorry. I was rushed, you know what I'm saying? So I had to get that video out. And there are times where you just mess with your little sibling and they pull out a knife on you know what I'm saying? This could be one of them times. But subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Join all the other buttercups, you feel me? Hey, I got a little thing I call all my viewers buttercups. I just spat right there. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, buttercup. But without any further ado, let's get to the video, buttercups. Also, I am so... Look for my glasses, my bad.
Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! He just admitted that on camera. You know how dumb you gotta, you know what?
Don't put that on camera.
It might seem logical to assume that only adults are capable of committing heinous crimes, but children can be equally susceptible to
Why does it sound so low, bro? Am I tripping? Okay, I was tripping. Okay, I was tripping.
Shock and horrify. From a young murderer taunting a victim's
that look like that look like what's the dude called from Shameless? That look like I think his name is Carl, something like that.
To a killer couple boasting about their recent crime on YouTube.
And then she posted it?
Or even two brothers murdering their family members for internet fame, these young offenders have left an indelible mark. In this video, we'll explore some of the most disturbing cases of young criminals in U.S. prisons, detailing the shocking and tragic crimes that shocked the nation. We've got everything from Savona's...
I heard about this case right here. Did he? You know what? I'm not even gonna spoil it for y'all. Some of y'all, if y'all don't know, I'm gonna just let the video play out. I'm not even gonna spoil it. But if you know, you know.
Most infamous kid to the horrifying case that shocked Jacksonville, so stay tuned.
What the hell?
Number 9. Eric Smith.
Yeah, so we're getting straight into it. This is the first one. This case right here is messed up. This is a messed up case right here. That's sad. It's real sad.
Killer from Savona. Eric Smith's story became one of the most infamous cases in U.S. history, captivating the nation in 1993. On the morning of August 2nd, a seemingly
that's my grandma's birthday. What the hell? 2 days before my birthday. What the hell?
Normal day in Savona, New York, would forever be marred by an unthinkable tragedy. 13-year-old Eric Smith encountered 4-year-old Derek Roby, who was on his way to a local summer camp. Eric...
First off, why is a little 4... Is the 4-year-old walking to camp by himself? If so, that gotta be that white people shit. Oh God, that's the white people shit. Why are you letting your 4-year... You know, let me play the video out. Let me see, you know what I'm saying?
With a sinister motive, convinced Derek to follow him to a nearby wooded area, claiming it was a shortcut. Once they were alone, Eric brutally attacked Derek, first strangling him to unconsciousness.
Okay, so he was walking alone. You're letting a 4-year-old walk alone, or with this prisoner right here? Parenting skills, bro. Y'all just asking for it, bro.
Then smashing a rock onto his head, and finally pouring Kool-Aid from Derek's lunchbox into his open wounds. Derek's mother, Doreen Roby, was devastated when her son did not arrive at camp as expected. As the hours passed, a search began, only for Derek's body to be found in the woods later that day, not far from the park. The town of Savona was gripped with fear, unsure of who could have committed such a horrific crime. The shock was compounded when, just a week later, Eric Smith confessed to his mother that he had killed Derek. He was arrested, tried as an adult, and became the youngest person ever to stand trial for murder in New York State at the time, despite no physical abnormalities being found in Eric's brain function or hormone levels. It became clear—
That just means he wasn't like, he couldn't plead for insanity. He couldn't say it was crazy because he had no abnormal brain, whatever he said, brain thingies, whatever. I don't remember.
His social struggles, including years of bullying and isolation, may have contributed to his violent outburst.
Man, you getting bullied contributed you to murder a 4-year-old kid? You took time out of your day to walk into the woods, you know what I'm saying? Get a big rock and smash on top of his head, and then you're gonna pour some of his Kool-Aid on him. That's disrespectful. That's foul. That's foul. That's sad.
In 1994, he was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to the maximum term for juvenile offenders, 9 years to life in prison. Eric Smith spent nearly 30 years behind bars.
I knew he was bald. I knew he was bald. I was going to mention that earlier that he's bald. He's bald now. I remember him being bald.
Parole repeatedly denied. Despite his lengthy incarceration, Smith participated in rehabilitation programs and repeatedly expressed remorse for his actions. After several parole hearings, Eric Smith was finally granted parole in 2021 and released from prison, though his case continues to be a controversial subject. Number 8. Joshua Phillips, the crime that shocked Jacksonville. Joshua Phillips's case is a grim reminder of how a young life can spiral into tragedy. Convicted of first-degree murder at just 15 years old, Phillips's crime shocked Jacksonville, Florida in 1998.
Forces in Florida.
It began on November 3rd, when 8-year-old Maddie Clifton went missing from her neighborhood. She had been playing outside, but when her mother went to check on her, Maddie was nowhere to be found. Her disappearance set off a massive community search, with volunteers and search parties combing the area for any sign of her. Joshua Phillips, then 14, was even involved in the search efforts.
Oh, that's
no signs of the crime he had already committed. It wasn't until November 10th that Maddie's body was discovered, hidden under Joshua's bed.
What the hell?
Noticed a wet
He killed a kid and then he gonna hide the kid under his bed. What the Nah. That's sad, bro. That is sad. And then they say there's like a little puddle under his bed. Bro, that's blood.
spot on the floor of his room, and upon further inspection, found Maddie's body hidden there. The shock was immediate.
How was like the smell not protruding from his bedroom? Y'all see that protruding? Big word. Did I even use that right? Hold on, let me see if I know what I'm saying. Oh, what the hell did I just do? How do I spell? Hold on, how do I spell that? Protruding. Sticking out, projecting. Yeah, sticking out, like, you know what I'm saying? Vocabulary word, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make us black people look educated, you feel me?
Maddie's body was discovered, hidden under Joshua's bed. His mother had noticed a wet spot on the floor of his room, and upon further inspection, found Maddie's body hidden there. The shock was immediate, and Phillips was arrested shortly after. Later, he confessed to the murder, detailing the horrific events that led to the child's death. On that fateful day, Phillips had been playing baseball with Maddie, despite his parents being away. According to Phillips, he accidentally hit Maddie in the eye with the ball, causing a painful injury. Fearing the consequences of his father's strict alcoholic behavior, Phillips panicked and tried to silence Maddie by hitting her with a baseball bat. When that
A baseball bat? Yo! Bro, all you had to do was tell her mom. The punishment you got now would have been not worse if your dad, you know what I'm saying, hit you with a cool 3-piece. But instead you want to end up kill her, avoid 3-piece, and then you gonna get three. No, I thought I had a joke there. I didn't have a joke. I'm so sorry.
That failed to stop her cries, he escalated the violence, stabbing her multiple times with a...
Oh, so it wasn't just a bat. He stabbed her too. He stabbed her. What was he thinking? Oh my God. Rest in peace to her, bro.
Knife and ultimately killing her. He then attempted to hide the body, even using air fresheners to mask the smell as it began to decompose. Phillips was charged as an adult and sentenced to life without parole, avoiding the death penalty due to his age. This tragic crime, committed by a young boy, left the community in disbelief. Now in his 40s, Joshua Phillips remains incarcerated at the Cross City Correctional Institution, serving out a life sentence for the brutal murder of Maddie Clifton. His case remains a sobering reminder of the darkness that can sometimes take hold of young minds. Number 7. Beaver Brothers, the deadliest crime in Broken Arrow. The Beaver Brothers case stands as one of the most chilling acts of mass murder in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. On July 22, 2015, Robert, 18, and Michael, 16, executed a violent plan to murder their family members.
Oh my God, you can't, bro. No way. That's a baby right there you're holding, bro. I'm not believing this, bro. Hold on.
In their home. Their motive was driven by an insatiable desire for fame and notoriety. According to Detective Rihanna Russell, the brothers aimed to kill at least 50 people, desperate for media coverage and a Wikipedia page.
All this just to get clout? Why don't you just grind like we do, like everyone else, and just make a YouTube video or channel or something like that? You want to try to go on a mass killing and kill 50 people? Are we being for real?
They had carefully planned the
Hey, say it with me. This, that. Thank you.
massacre, amassing a collection of knives for the brutal task. The horrifying night began.
They look like the type to just collect knives and stuff like that. What? And their parents wasn't going through them or nothing like that? They was just letting them have it? I'm telling y'all,
Michael lured his sister into a bedroom under the guise of showing her something on the computer. Once inside, Robert ambushed her, slashing her throat and stabbing her multiple times. Their mother, April, was then brutally attacked by Robert, who inflicted at least 48 knife wounds, killing her instantly. The brothers continued their rampage, attacking their father, David, who endured 28 stabbings and blunt force trauma, and their 7-year-old brother, Christopher, who suffered 6 stab wounds. Their 18-year-old sister, Victoria, was next, stabbed 18 times in the neck, chest, and arms. In the midst of the chaos, Daniel, just 12 years old, managed to lock himself in a room and call 911.
That's smart.
But Michael tricked him into opening the door, pretending to be a victim. Once inside, the brothers stabbed Daniel 9 times. Despite the brutal attack, Daniel's quick...
Mind you, this is all for fame and clout. Wait, how old were they again? How old were they when they killed them?
thinking played a crucial role in saving his 2 younger sisters, Autumn, 2, and Crystal, 13. The brothers fled the scene, but police soon tracked them down with the help of a canine unit, locating them in a wooded area nearby. Crystal Beaver, a survivor of the attack, identified her brothers as the perpetrators. Robert and Michael were charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of assault with intent to kill. They both pled not guilty, but in 2016 and 2018, they were convicted on all charges. Robert received a life sentence without parole, while Michael, due to his age, was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole, though his release is highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Number 6. Heavenly Arroyo, a teenage murderer's cold heart. In a tragic case of teenage violence, Heavenly Arroyo, a 15-year-old girl, ended the life of 68-year-old Ana Vasquez Rodriguez in a brutal and shocking manner. The incident took place on October 6, 2019, at Arroyo's great-uncle's home in Fall River, Massachusetts. The tension in the household had been building for days, and when Arroyo's great-uncle, who was planning a trip to New York, was delayed due to car problems, it pushed Arroyo to a breaking point. Frustrated and agitated, she chose to take out her anger on Ana. Arroyo, who had been living in the house with Ana and her grandson, waited until the house was quiet and then attacked Ana while she lay in bed. Using a knife, she stabbed the elderly woman 70 times.
70? What's up with all these stabbings and stuff like that? What the? Oh my god, bro, there's no way. 70 times? You gotta... 70 times!
Person in the house at the time was Ana's grandson, who was playing video games in another room, unaware of the horrific crime taking place just a few feet away. After the murder, Arroyo calmly took a shower, discarded her blood-stained clothes in a nearby dumpster, and then tried to cover up her crime by claiming that a masked man had entered the house and killed Ana. Her story began to unravel when security footage from the Fall River Housing Authority showed her disposing of the clothes, contradicting her earlier statement. Once arrested, Arroyo's demeanor shifted dramatically. In a court appearance, she shockingly smiled and flipped her hair, showing no remorse for her actions. In 2023, Arroyo, now 18, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in Fall River Superior Court. Judge Rene Dupuis sentenced her to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 19 years. Number 5. Sierra Halseth, a teenager's murderous plot with her boyfriend. In a disturbing case of teenage rebellion and murder, 16-year-old Sierra Halseth and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Aaron Guerrero, executed a gruesome and calculated murder. The victim was Sierra's father, Daniel Halseth, who had been involved in a contentious custody battle with Sierra's mother, Elizabeth Helgelian. Sierra and Aaron's relationship was short-lived but filled with tension. And when their parents found out they planned to run away to Los Angeles, their relationship ended. On April 8, 2021, the young couple purchased a circular saw blades, bleach, lighter fluid, gloves, and a drop cloth, preparing for the murder. The next day, Daniel Halseth's mutilated body was discovered in his garage. The autopsy revealed he had suffered over 70 stab wounds to his head.
Another 70, bro? These people are maniacs, bro. Oh my god.
And torso. In an attempt to hide their crime, the couple stuffed his remains into a sleeping bag and set them on fire, leaving his body unrecognizable. After the murder, Sierra and Aaron recorded a video for YouTube where Aaron announced they were free and enjoying their new life. However, their run from justice was short-lived. Authorities apprehended them in Salt Lake City shortly after the video went public. On May 26, 2022, Sierra and Aaron pled guilty to multiple charges, including murder, arson, and robbery. Both were sentenced to 22 years to life in prison with the possibility of parole. At their sentencing, Sierra did not express any remorse, while Aaron offered an apology. Their shocking crime and complete lack of regret shocked everyone. Time for the fancy topic. In a shocking and unsettling turn of events,
skipping this. I'm skipping this.
Number 4. Roxana Sikorsky, a teen's dark plan to kill her family. Roxana Sikorsky, a 15-year-old girl from Plymouth, Michigan, became involved in a twisted plot to murder her family.
She looked like a big mouth character. Why is her face shaped like that? I don't like it.
Under the influence of her much older boyfriend, Michael Rivera. Roxana had been adopted from Poland at the age of 4, and her troubled childhood, marked by abuse, led to her diagnosis of reactive attachment disorder, making it difficult for her to connect emotionally with others. This disorder may have made Roxana more vulnerable to manipulation, especially by an older, persuasive figure like Rivera. In October 2014, when she was just 15, her relationship with 23-year-old Michael Rivera took—
He has baby hairs on his head, bro. You like that? That turned you on? So this was you, by the way. This is you. Oh, he's so fine. He made me want to go kill somebody for him. Bro, he has baby hair on his hair. I mean, on his head. Look at his glasses. That made you want to go—
a dark turn. Rivera manipulated—
he got the face only a mother can love—
Roxana into hatching a plan to murder her family, who disapproved of their relationship. He even sent her detailed instructions on how to carry out the crime, specifying vital areas to target. The planning was meticulous, as Rivera clearly exerted control over Roxana, using her vulnerability to manipulate her into believing that the only way to be together was through violence. One night, Roxana attacked her younger brother with a fillet knife, aiming for his neck. Thankfully, he survived the attack. His injuries, while serious, were not life-threatening, but the psychological impact on the family was profound. Her sister's screams alerted their parents, and Roxana fled through a window. She met up with Rivera, and the two of them went into hiding in southwest Detroit, but the police soon tracked them down. The couple was eventually located through a combination of forensic evidence and eyewitness reports. Their capture was a relief to the Sikorsky family, but it marked the beginning of a long and difficult legal battle. Roxana was charged as an adult due to the premeditated nature of the crime. Under Michigan law, individuals who commit serious crimes like murder conspiracies can be tried as adults, regardless of their age. In March 2016, a Detroit court sentenced her to 10 to 20 years in prison for her role in the conspiracy to murder her family. Michael Rivera was sentenced to life in prison in 2015. Rivera's role as a manipulative older figure was seen as a key element in the—
Is that nigga 5'2"? What the— Yo! She did this for a nigga that's 5'2" with baby hairs and glasses like that.
The crime. and his actions were considered to be the driving force behind the plot. Roxana's parents were devastated by the court's decision, believing she had been coerced into the crime by Rivera. They also expressed concern about the psychological toll that adult prison would take on their fragile daughter. Roxana's mother, Lorene Sikorsky, argued that her daughter needed continued psychological help, not imprisonment. Lorene Sikorsky had been a strong advocate for her daughter throughout the trial, highlighting the emotional trauma that had plagued her life since childhood. Despite the horrific nature of the crime, Lorene maintained that Roxana's troubled past and the abusive relationship with Rivera were key factors in her actions. This case sparked a wider conversation about the mental health needs of adolescents involved in violent crime and the ethics of sentencing minors as adults. The debate centered around whether a young person, especially one with a history of trauma, should be treated the same as an adult in the criminal justice system. Roxana's story highlights the devastating consequences of manipulation and emotional abuse, and it serves as a stark reminder of how vulnerable young people with psychological disorders can be to predatory influences. Number 3. T.J. Lane, the high school shooter. On February 27, 2012, the small town of Chardon, Ohio, was left in shock and grief after a deadly shooting at Chardon High School. T.J. Lane, a 17-year-old student at Lake Academy Alternative School, walked into the school cafeteria that morning wearing a sweatshirt with the word "killer" emblazoned.
Y'all seen a man that look like this walk into a cafeteria with a shirt labeled "killer." Still decided to sit down and eat. Let me go. Did he have a gun? If he had a gun, let me see.
On it, and armed with a .22 caliber handgun.
So, the students, rest in peace to some of them, other students, y'all seen him walk into high school with a killer shirt labeled on him, has a gun, and y'all still decided to eat? Let me shut up. I ain't gonna. He didn't even try to hide it or nothing. He just walked in that motherfucker. He ain't trying to hide it at all.
As students gathered before classes began, Lane opened fire without warning, aiming directly at a table where a group of students sat. The attack killed 3 students, 16-year-olds Daniel Palmatori and Demetrius Hewlin, and 17-year-old Russell King Jr., and left 3 others injured, one of whom was paralyzed for life.
That's sad.
Lane had previously attended Chardon High School, but had transferred to the alternative school, where his motive for the shooting remained unclear. Some reports suggested that he may have felt alienated or bullied. However, it was never definitively established if his actions were purely the result of bullying, or if there were other contributing factors, such as mental health issues or a history of personal trauma. Lane had been in therapy for emotional and behavioral problems, but it seemed these interventions were insufficient to prevent the tragedy. Additionally, Lane's troubling behavior was noted by classmates and teachers, who later revealed that he had expressed violent thoughts and fantasies prior to the shooting. A teacher chased Lane out of the school, and he was eventually apprehended about a mile away from the scene, near his car. Investigations revealed that Lane had stolen the gun from his uncle. The gun was a small .22 caliber handgun, often used in smaller scale shootings, but it proved devastating that day. During his trial, Lane showed a shocking lack of remorse. He appeared in court wearing a t-shirt he had made himself with the word "killer" written on it, and taunted the families of his victims with obscene gestures. His callousness and apparent indifference to the gravity of his actions left many people questioning the depths of his emotional and psychological instability. In March 2013, Lane was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
Yeah, he's out of there.
However, in 2014, Lane made headlines again when he, along with 2 other inmates, escaped from the Allen Correctional Institution in Lima, Ohio. After a tense 6-hour manhunt, he was caught. His escape led to his transfer in 2016 to the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison, due to the high profile of his crimes and the fear that he posed a continued danger. His escape and the media frenzy surrounding it further demonstrated his disregard for authority and the seriousness of his actions. While friends described Lane as a seemingly normal teenager with reports of bullying and a difficult home life, the question remains, can these struggles justify the brutal actions he took that day? While it is clear that Lane's life was marked by difficulties, including challenges at home and in school, his choice to commit such a horrific act raises fundamental questions about accountability, mental health, and the role of upbringing in shaping an individual's future. Lane's story serves as a tragic reminder of the potential consequences of untreated emotional and psychological distress, and the deep scars left behind by violence on the victims, their families, and the broader community. Number 2. Alyssa Bustamante, the Missouri teen thrill killer. Alyssa Bustamante's case is one that sent shockwaves through the country when she was revealed as the so-called Missouri teen thrill killer. A seemingly normal 15-year-old girl from Missouri, Bustamante became infamous for the cold-blooded murder of her 9-year-old neighbor, Elizabeth Alton. On October 21, 2009, Alyssa lured Elizabeth into the woods behind their homes, where she brutally killed her by strangling her, slitting her throat, and stabbing her in a shallow grave that Alyssa had previously dug.
Oh, it's an airplane, bro. I'm tripping.
Alyssa's online presence painted a disturbing picture. On her MySpace and YouTube profiles, she listed killing people and cutting as her hobbies, which reflected her dark and violent fantasies. In her journal, Alyssa wrote about her growing curiosity about murder, revealing chilling details just hours before the killing. She wrote, "I just killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them. Now they're dead. I don't know how to feel ATM. It was amazing. Once you get over the oh my god I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable." After Elizabeth was reported missing, the police quickly zeroed in on Alyssa. Upon searching her home, investigators discovered her journal, which contained a detailed confession to the crime. During questioning, Alyssa initially denied any involvement, but when confronted with her diary, she admitted to the murder. Alyssa was tried as an adult, pled guilty to second-degree murder, and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
Damn.
However, due to an additional conviction for armed criminal action, even if she is paroled in 2024, she will still face an additional 30 years, pushing her earliest possible release to 2054 at the age of 60. Number 1. Lionel Tate, a tragic play. Gone wrong. On July 28, 1999, a tragic incident unfolded in Broward County, Florida, when 12-year-old Lionel Tate killed his 6-year-old cousin, Tiffany Unick.
See, that's the thing. I was just about to say, y'all not seeing any black people on this list, but life proved me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Number 1, by the way, too. We're number 1. I was so happy that none of my content is on here, but
the 2 children were left alone in the home while Tate's mother rested upstairs. Shortly after, Tate called his mother to report that Tiffany wasn't breathing. When authorities investigated, they found that Tiffany had suffered severe injuries, including a fractured skull, broken ribs, and internal hemorrhaging. The injuries suggested an extreme level of force, and Tate's claim that he had been imitating wrestling moves seemed implausible. Tate, who weighed 170 pounds, claimed he was simply trying
170 pounds at what, 11 years old? Let me see, how old was he?
To mimic wrestling moves he had seen on television with Tiffany, who
WWE.
just 48 pounds. However, the defense failed to sway the jury, and in 2001, Tate was convicted of first-degree murder. Under Florida law, the felony murder rule applied, which meant that even if Tate had not intended to kill Tiffany, his actions still led to her death. Judge Joel T. Lazarus explained that the severity of the injuries and the act of committing them on a child was enough for a first-degree murder conviction. Tate's case sparked significant controversy, as many believe that a 12-year-old should not face life in prison.
He's 12 years old and weighs 170. That is insane. 170? 12 years old? Boy, you hitting WWE moves, you need to be hitting the treadmill. That's what you need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Get you a good workout. Good workout. Over trying to hit. Nigga think he Big Show. What's that big black dude on WWE? Mark Henry. Nigga think he Mark Henry. Over trying to. Come on, bro. Trying to recreate. Didn't Mark Henry like Rey Mysterio fight or some shit? I never watched you a WWE like that, so I don't know. I don't care.
Without parole. In 2004, an appeals court overturned his life sentence due to a failure to assess his mental competency properly. Instead, Tate was offered a plea deal, admitting to second-degree murder in exchange for a reduced sentence of 1 year of house arrest and 10 years of probation. However, his legal troubles continued. In 2005, Tate faced charges of armed robbery, and in 2006, he violated his probation. He was eventually sentenced to 10 years for robbery, and in 2008, he entered a no-contest plea to robbery charges. Tate is currently serving his sentence at the Charlotte Correctional Institution. How should these child killers be dealt with? Let us know in the comments below. See you next time.
Alright, bro, come on. I'm not trying to see that right now, bro. Come on, bro. Be for real. Alright, time to read the comments. This is basically a segment where I just read the comments. That's pretty much it. The two brothers that... God damn it. The two brothers that killed most of their family members still stood out throughout the entirety of video for me. I'm sure they meant of the video for me, but yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for that. It's hilarious how they used the image of a black kid as clickbait. Oh yeah, what the hell? While all the stories were mostly white kids. Things make you go, yeah. Wait, I got a bone to pick with you, fancy banana. Come on, bro. Don't do us like that. Yeah, look. Why was a 4-year-old allowed to go by himself? Go to a summer camp? What the exactly? Come on, bro. Why y'all letting a little 4-year-old walk to a camp by himself? This is what I was saying earlier. The body under the bed, how could you not smell it? Air freshener would not cover that smell. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah. Alright, that's it for the video today, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications on. When you comment, say it with your chest. Comment with your full chest. Tell me how you feel about the video. Tell me if the video's not good. Tell me if it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Just be real. You feel me? But that's it for the video today, man. And yeah, dude. 41 minutes? Holy fuck. Yeah, baby.